Here's something I've been meaning to ask. When the next Doctor is cast, or when they begin searching, of course, which of course is obviously now, do you think the next incarnation, if it's not Joe Martin's fugitive Doctor, do you think they should cast a prior actor who maybe played a companion or even a previous Doctor to play the role?
No, I really don't like those suggestions. Where like if you go on like a who's going to be the next Doctor website, it's like Matt Smith, David Tennant, Peter Capaldi. It's like, well, no, they've already been the Doctor. Let's just have someone new, please. Like it really that and also the BBC wouldn't do that. Like that's not something that is going to happen. Because the storytellers, at least the showrunners, won't do that, because I think that's stupid. Bring them back as the same character in a multi-Doctor story or in their own, individual story or something, but don't have them be the next Doctor. I think that's such a stupid idea.
So you don't think a previous companion could be the Doctor one day?
I think like they've had it where someone has been in Doctor Who in one episode and they've been the companion or they've been the Doctor. But to have someone that was so prominent in Doctor Who to be the Doctor, I don't think they should do. Like Peter Capaldi was in Doctor Who in one episode, and they did make a comparison between that character and the Doctor, and that's why he looks like that. But that's like it doesn't take you out of it so much. Because like if it was say like Karen Gillan, it's like that's just Amy. You're going to see her as Amy. You're not going to see her as the Doctor because she's Amy. Like I don't think a full-time companion could be the Doctor. I mean, they could be them if like the acting, sure, but I'm saying like in a storytelling standpoint, in a production standpoint, I don't think it should happen, because they're just too well known for being in Doctor Who before.
Yeah, I feel like from a narrative perspective, the reason they got away with Peter Capaldi was because he was a great actor, and he was unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but he was conveniently in Doctor Who before, and it made sense for a modern television audience to at least acknowledge that, yeah, he has some level of history with another character who had featured prominently in an episode, so we had to explain it. But I think they should have done it drastically different, but they at least explained it.
They did it. They still did it.
Yeah, I do feel like they could get away with it somehow. At least here's my 2 cents on it. If Doctor Who was to be cancelled after the 60th anniversary, and it went on hiatus for a decade, another long period of time, and then they brought it back similar to how they did in 2005, I think they could get away with maybe like casting, I don't know. Again, I wouldn't advocate this, but if they want to cast Jenna Coleman and they want to bring her back as the Doctor, I think they could easily make a narrative excuse for that.
It would take you out of it so much, though. I mean, yeah, sure, but they can do the narrative because they have done it before. However, I just think it would take you out of it so much. Like, well, that's Clara. What, like, I don't doubt that she could do it because she's a great actor, but like, I don't think they should. Like, that's my point. I don't think they should do that because it will just take you out of it. Damn it, I had another point about casting doctors. I'll think about it. You say some more stuff, and I'll come back to that.
If it was in the longevity side of it, and again, if the right situation called for it, I think they could get away with casting a prior actor in the role prominently. Because I know that, again, we look at examples with Colin Baker. Now, he played a recurring role in the 80s. I think it was a Time Lord guard or something on Gallifrey, and a year later he was the 6th Doctor. And granted, that is not a companion, but I think the same logic does apply in some levels, as long as they acknowledge it in an interesting story. But again, even though I've asked the question in general, I would also agree. I do think that it's always good to give a new lad, a new girl, the chance to show their skills in acting and give the role someone a fresh start. And Doctor Who, again, as much as we love a certain actor or a certain character for a period of time, again, you need change, you need good development and good stories and characters to latch onto for the series to keep going forward. So I do think that it would be in best interests of the show not to cast a prior actor in the role, even if that character or actor probably is very prominent right now. I mean, you look at Karen Gillan, who's currently hitting it big in the MCU. She could easily be cast as the next Doctor the next day, but even I would say no. don't. She's had a very memorable role as Amy
Yeah, I just
Pond.
don't think she-
You don't need to. You don't need to do it. You don't need to bring her into the show again. And if you
Exactly.
are, you just at this point you're just being blatant. Oh, she's got star power now. We need the ratings.
Yeah, I thought of the thing. No, it's gone again. Yeah, so the big so the big argument I've seen that is like, well, they can bring back a David Tennant or Matt Smith as the Doctor again, because in the 50th, Tom Baker as the curator is possibly an incarnation of the Doctor, like really far in the future, and it's like, oh, he says you'll be revisiting faces, and it's like, sure, that is a point, and it could happen. However, I don't think it would happen so soon. I think they would have to have it be like, if Doctor Who has such low ratings, and I mean it does now, but they do want to cancel it, I think that's when that would happen. Really far in the future. I don't think 10 years is enough to say, okay, now the Doctor's going to be reliving his lives as older incarnations of how he was before. I think it's too soon to do that, because it's only been 2 generations since Matt Smith. Like, maybe because Tom Baker makes sense because he was the 4th Doctor, and that was during the 11th Doctor's run. So maybe a Paul McGann, because he's quite far back, but not Matt Smith or David Tennant, because they're too prominent in Doctor Who as it is now, because they've only, well, I say only recently, it's been 10 years since Matt Smith, I think. Yeah, it is. Yeah, because he was like 2011, I think.
Yeah, 20.
So,
yeah.
I still think 10 years is too much.
Yeah, I feel like, and also I think it's a contributing factor for the actors because they've had their time on the show, and they've had, I mean, in Tennant's case, he's had the glory of being the most loved incarnation of the Doctor for the modern audience, like how Tom Baker was for the classic audience. Yeah, he still is. He's the reason half the Doctor Who media outside of the show has been promoting him, because the current Doctor's not doing it for everyone, but he is. So I feel like he's.
I think because he is the most popular Doctor, that's what Chibnall is trying to sort of go off of in his era. Like, he's trying to make it very Russell T Davies era, having it 3 specials at the end. It's just how David Tennant went out, and like how you said that the Doctor at the moment is like a carbon copy of David Tennant's Doctor.
But without the charm or charisma or interest.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, just without that. I just think they're trying to mark it off of the fact that David Tennant was big, and it still is big, so they want to do sort of copy that success, which they are not doing.
Yeah, and because of that period of success that they had, and again, keep in mind, David Tennant's like approaching his 50s, or he's in his 50s, I think. Good on him, because he still looks banging good. but yeah, I feel like he wouldn't want to do it.
40s, early 50s.
Yeah, he wouldn't want to step back into that role outside of, again, anniversary specials. Because, again, the thing that happens with these actors... I mean, look what happened to Mark Hamill when he became Luke Skywalker again. We were looking forward to seeing a return to glory for the characters of, Han, Luke and Leia. And what happened to them? They got killed off in each of their respective movies. And Luke wasn't even Luke, he was Jake Skywalker. And so, yeah, his character was essentially destroyed. And I get the feeling that Tennant, under the current reign of Doctor Who right now, if he was brought back in a prominent role, I don't think he'd want to.
They were going to bring him back and he was going to be amazing, but then they just ruined his character. That's exactly what probably would happen if they brought back David Tennant or Matt Smith. They would just bring him back for the sake of it and ruin the character. I think that's why Mark Hamill liked The Mandalorian so much, is because Luke was just sort of back to prime, and not really much happened, but he was like doing stuff that it would make sense that he was doing what he was doing.
Yeah, he was actually being a fucking Jedi Master.
Become like Matt Smith, David Tennant, Peter Capaldi. Yeah, exactly. But Matt Smith, I'm saying Matt Smith, David Tennant, and Peter Capaldi say, because they're the sort of the top 3 to come back. I don't think Eccleston ever would, but those 3, I still don't think they would either, just because their run is finished. Like, they might come back in the odd special. I definitely think David Tennant would, but I don't think they'd come back in a permanent basis, like, to be so prominent. Like, they could do Big Finish, because that's not necessarily that prominent and doesn't have the biggest audience, but it's still being part of the, like, being the character again, but not such a big commitment or like big scope that it would take over their lives again. I just don't think they did it.
Yeah, I think they're at a good position right now where they can enjoy the glory of days of their roles. They've got fans that love them to death, and despite how bad the show's doing right now, fans still have them to enjoy. So I feel like if they were to do anything that would detriment that, it would lose faith for them and their future career prospects. Because I'm not trying to say that their career would plummet, but I do feel like when you try to revisit a character, especially when the show or the product it was originated from isn't in a good place, even if it probably is out of a goodwill of heart, I think it has the risk of being damaged. So I do think that I guess getting back to what the whole point was, I don't think we should ever have a prominent actor return in a new role as the Doctor.
Oh yeah, and also you go on those websites and there's top picks for Doctor Who. It's never ever been any of them. Whenever people put, I think there's bets on them. It's like 6-1 that this person will be the Doctor. Whoever they've cast has never been on the list, or if they have, it's been right at the bottom. But it's going to be someone that no one would expect. It's going to be someone that the showrunner maybe works with or likes their performance, or someone completely new. It's not going to be. I don't think it's going to be Chris Marshall, because everyone wants Chris Marshall. I want a Chris Marshall because I think he's great, but I don't think it will be. People want Phoebe Waller-Bridge. I don't think it will be her. There's so many different people that are right at the top of the list, and it just won't be them, because that's not how the casting of Doctor Who's ever worked. It's not going to be the fans want this person, so let's cast this person. It's never ever been that. It's been based on solely on the production. I guess the showrunner, the directors, and the writers. It's been their choice because they're in charge. It's never going to be the big names that are in the running.
Yeah.
It's going to be someone new or someone close to the showrunner, like how Jodie was with Chris Chibnall.
Yeah, let's just hope when they do cast the next Doctor, it's out of a good interest for the character and the story, and not just for other reasons.
Exactly, it's not just a fan. The BBC is going to make a poll. You vote for the next Doctor, we'll cast them. It's not going to be that.